Right. Hello. Sorry, I'll just... Well, sorry, Tony Slattery. And speak for yourself.
Well, that was gripping, wasn't it? That was me, Tony Slattery, when I first started presenting. Or rather, the old nervous me before I learned to take control. Without some techniques to help us, it's all too easy to start by saying, instead of good morning, look worried instead of confident, and use visual aids in the wrong way. In this video, I'll take you through the techniques I've since learned, and you'll gradually see the new confident me take over from my former nervous self. We'll work on 3 key areas: how to take control of your material, how to take control of yourself, and how to take control of your audience. By using these techniques, you too can be in control the next time you're asked to speak for yourself.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission... Or is it 6? Anyway, its 5 to 6 year mission to do what? To boldly go where? Well, you know, sort of in that direction, upwards. Okay, I don't know exactly why we're going or where, okay? Beat me up, Spucky. Scotty.
Clearly, if you don't know your mission or objective, you can easily get lost.
Hello. I'm here to... Sorry. Hello. Yes. I'm here to talk to you about presentation skills, but I'm not quite sure how to explain it to you because I haven't quite worked it out myself yet. So I I thought I could start with you, the audience, because obviously you're the most important thing. Oh, sorry, you're not the most important. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, you are. You are the most. I'm sorry. Look. Perhaps I'd just better go through my script, and you just talk amongst yourselves. So, won't be a sec. I'm sorry.
The objective has got to be what you want to achieve at the end of your presentation. Let's take an example. Suppose you've been asked to go and speak for 20 minutes at a customer's about a new product that you're about to launch. That's not an objective. That's just your assignment.
The purpose might be to cajole, it might be to draw out of gently, it might be to challenge. But the clearer you can be about what the overall effect that you want to create with your presentation is, then you can get clear about how you do that on a moment-to-moment basis.
Before you start to structure your presentation, brainstorm it. Have a frenzy of ideas. Brainstorm it.
I recommend brainstorming always. And then also, there's nothing like preparing too much material and then going and doing some judicious editing.
You want to be seen to be in control of your material all the way through the presentation. First thing is, cut anything you're not happy with and doesn't meet your objective. Leave material that A, meets your objective, and B, you can relate to the audience. You've got to know how you're going to get through the presentation, how you're going to begin it, what comes in the middle, where your key areas are, where the bits are that you want people to remember long after they've forgotten everything else.
To memorize or not to memorize, that is the question. It's also the one that tends to scupper most presenters more than any other one that I can think of. I think that memorization creates pressure. It puts an awful lot of onus upon you that you can remove from yourself by not committing yourself to memorizing speeches. I'm not saying not having notes, but I think what is important is to learn the thoughts behind the words.
Okay, so once your material is focused, concentrate on the opening. You could call the opening prime time, And if you don't grab the audience then, you've lost them.
So I said to her, I can't wear leopard. It brings me out in sparks.
Well, I think he looks smashing.
Do you think so?
Yes, I do.
Morning, morning, morning. Thank you for coming. I'd like to introduce my latest invention. There we are. Now, any questions?
Yes. What is it?
Well, obviously it's a wheel. Now, my wholesale...
What does it do?
Well, it goes round. So...
I don't see it go around.
Well, obviously it's not going round now because it's not attached to anything, and it has to be. Look. It's a circular, disc-style, rotational item with a centrally located axle hub, all right?
This isn't going to catch on, you know.
Never in a million years.
Complete waste of time.
All right, wait till you see this. Now, this is,
It's important to get your opening just right, and you have to let your audience know what you're talking about. It's crucial that they know what you're talking about right at the beginning so they can understand the rest of what you're going to say to them. Research has shown, for example, that if you tell people a story and you don't tell them what the story is about beforehand, then they don't understand properly what the story is about. The best way of presenting information to people is to actually give them the bottom line before you start, and then to go into details about why you reach the bottom line that you do.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. I'd like to present you with my latest invention. I'm calling it the wheel, and I think it will change your lives for the better. Just think, no more heaving those heavy stones around. 4 of these will do the job for you.
That was taking control of your material. Let's just review that. Know your objective, brainstorm and give it a structure, work on your prime time. Now, you're a third of the way there.
I think that all of us have demons. We all have little monsters that sit on our shoulders and then whisper in our ears, you're not really going to be able to do this. I'll give you an example. My grandmother gave me a complex about my singing voice. She used to say, I don't like it when you sing slow. Hurry up, hurry up. And every time I'm going to get up in front of a group of people and use my voice in some kind of way, I have to talk to my grandmother before I begin. Excuse me, Granny, I'm singing this song now. It's not you, it's my turn. That was then, this is now. So basically, you objectify your demon. You place it outside of yourself and you speak to it. You try and grow to the point where you become taller than it.
I think you have to accept that, presenting is not a natural state. Getting up in front of a group of people on your own, in a monologue, maybe in front of strangers, it's a stressful business.
And in my experience, nerves rarely go away, but the trick is trying to find a way to take the fear, to take the nerves, and to actually convert them into fuel that you can use to inspire the work that you're doing. So I would suggest the first thing you do is just stop. Then breathe. What breathing does, it does a few things. The first thing that it does is it puts you in touch with what you're actually feeling. So if you're nervous and you take a breath, the feeling tends to come up. But rather than sit down inside and become a pressure cooker on top of which you're trying to create, it comes up and then you can actually use it. So stop, take a breath, actually take a moment to experience what you're feeling.
Right. A few deep breaths, no hand clasping, take control of those nerves, be confident. To sum up then, there are techniques to help you take control of your nerves when it's your turn to stand up here. Now, on to body language.
Someone once said that your body dances in time to your speech, and that's what happens when you feel comfortable and relaxed. When you don't feel comfortable and relaxed, then your body gets tense, you hold your hands by your side, or you fold your arms in front of you, whatever, you don't feel comfortable and you don't look relaxed to your audience. So it's important from your audience's point of view that you use your body by standing upright, by looking around, taking in your audience, and then subsequently you maintain contact with your audience through your body language by using your body to emphasize major points, just as I've done now.
Welcome back, fans, to a great game here today, where we have seen some fine presenting.
We have indeed, Bob. Some extraordinary skills on display.
Now let's look at a replay.
Okay.
And he made 3 good points in the first minute. Oh, he's a little nervous.
That's right, Bob. Check out that foot tapping. You don't expect to see those arrows at this level of the game.
You certainly don't,
But
huh?
Bob, wait, he made a fine recovery. And let's just see that again.
Yes! Yes!
Oh.
A good use of a memory jogger there. Oh! Look and learn. Those are the feet of a master. I'm privileged to see this firmly on the ground, just the right distance apart, shoulders squared up. Oh, he's making good eye contact now. Yes, the crowd is loving it.
Urging that crowd on. Yeah. Oh, Bob, the audience is really into this now. You know, Bob, more performances like this, and he could be heading for the Super Bowl.
You know, you may be right, Luke.
Look at that. That's a big point, and he got it across first time.
Now it's time to rehearse, 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 especially your opening prime time and your summary. You can rehearse anywhere, in the bathroom mirror, in the car, into a video camera if you can get one, but it's best if you can rehearse in front of an audience, friends, family, or work colleagues, and best of all, if you can do it in the room where you'll actually be making the presentation.
By rehearsing, we mean actually standing up and saying your presentation out loud. It's much simpler to do it up here in your head. It's only when you get it out that you hear where the logic gaps are, where you might be missing a word. Also, you can't time in your head.
I think Napoleon had it right on this one. He said time spent in reconnaissance is seldom, if ever, wasted. And you want to think that you're going, if you like, into a field of battle of your own. And you want to minimize the chances of things happening to ruin your presentation. There's no substitute for getting into the venue before the presentation, feeling comfortable with it, knowing where the plugs are. If they're not in the right place, you need extension cables. If you have extension cables, you need masking tape.
Okay, so rehearse and build your confidence. Never underestimate the amount of time and work you must put into your presentation. Think of your presentation as an iceberg, even if it is a rather badly drawn one. 90% of your effort is invisible. It goes in before your presentation even starts, but it's the crucial 10% that shows. So, make rehearsal a key part of your preparation. Now the new confident me is starting to take control. The more we use the techniques for good presenting, the more control and confidence we have. Deal with your nerves, work on your body language, and rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. So, you're 2/3 of the way there. Now it's time for the last, and in many ways, the most important area. We've seen how to take control of your material and of yourselves. Now let's see how to take control of your audience. First, you've got to know what sort of audience you're speaking to. So, the general principles of Einstein's theory of relativity are fairly simple to grasp. How the position of events relates to the position and velocity of the observer, and of course the relationship between mass and energy. Thus, E equals mc squared. Clear so far? Good morning. I'd like to speak to you today about being a vegetarian.
Time for lunch.
Not knowing your audience won't kill you, but it could kill your presentation.
Find out what they need to know, what they already know, what they want to know, what would interest them, what language they use.
Perhaps you pick up nervousness, perhaps you pick up strife or pressure. Maybe the project or the group of people that you're addressing has been under a lot of pressure. It helps if you can actually bring that to light.
And finally, when they arrive, don't wait for them to come to you. You get out, meet them, introduce a few to each other, and suddenly not only do you appear friendly and approachable, but now you're in control.
Finding out about your audience will help. Now you need to work to get them interested and involved. The first thing is to keep the message simple and gear it to your audience, whatever the idea or product you're talking about.
Yeah, of course it's an original idea. Who else has done Rambo 17? Jerk! So, Marty, what can you do for me?
Ephraim, I want you to meet a very talented writer, William Shakespeare.
Hey, Billy, baby, mucho gusto, Honcho, huh?
I mean, I'm not kidding. This man can write. Remember Twelfth Night?
Hey, that was the sequel to 9.5 Weeks. Ooh, hotsy-totsy.
It's a great idea. You're gonna love it.
Good. I love great ideas, but I've only got 30 seconds, huh? So pitch me.
A just and noble prince, Aeschylus of Verona, who with his righteous sword doth separate two strafing families, whence, to begin anew, in fair Verona abides Romeo. Did I say Capulet? Or Montague? No matter. On yonder balcony, a lusty
Enough already, huh? This is the worst treatment I have ever heard. The idea stinks. It doesn't make sense. I just had lunch. I don't understand it, Marty.
Please, listen, darling. Think of it like this. Boy meets girl.
Yeah, so what's new?
Well, his parents hate her parents.
Hey. Yeah, now you're talking.
Oh, well, it gets better. The innocent young lovers end up on the slab.
Slab? I like it.
The parents make it up over their dead bodies, and they live happily ever after.
Oh, weepy! Oh, I love it!
For Romeo, we could have Tom Cruise.
Yeah!
And for Juliet,
Roseanne Barr!
Yeah.
Oh, we'll be rich. We'll be rich. And we can have lunch.
Gear your language to the level of the audience and keep the message simple and short. And that also means not using jargon. We've established then that the robin builds its nest in early spring. Scramble! Okay, lads, muck in because here's the gen, so keep your flaps open. At 2100 GMT, I had a powwow with the recce boys down at RAF Escapecom HQ, the savvy being it's no longer chocks away re-greasing past Jerry and pranging the wire. However, Wizzo. So, here's what we're going to do. Ginger?
So, Governor. Right, lads, with a little bit of hickory-dickory, we half-inch some old maids, pull up the House of Lords under the pink and mauve, dig down about a pony and build ourselves a deck and gunner. But here's the clever bit. We drop all the spare fun and mirth out of our terraced houses in the yard.
Corking caper, eh, what? So, any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What on earth were you two talking about?
The best language to use is the language of your audience. There are very few audiences that you go up against that haven't got a language of their own. They've got their own jargon. If you, as a stranger in their midst, suddenly use their jargon, in a way you're not a stranger any longer.
You should only use jargon when you're talking to an audience that understands that jargon.
Unless you're absolutely sure your audience will understand it, jargon is the enemy of good presenting. And so are visual aids if they're not used properly.
And seeing as you don't seem to be able to understand plain English, I've had to draw a diagram for you. Now, please pay attention. There are two tunnels, Tunnel A and Tunnel B. Tunnel A is 500 yards long and 5 feet deep, and Tunnel B is 400 yards long and 6 feet deep, with lintels every 47 and 92 yards, respectively, except under Guardhouse C, where they are 51 feet and 32 feet apart, respectively. Now, listen to this next bit. It's vital for your safety. If you come up by the guardhouse, then for goodness sake, you must take the fence, and then these lintels, and between there and the 400 yards and Tunnel B, and so it's terribly important that you take the wall and the other and around there, and if you don't do that, you'll be shot to pieces by the guards. All clear? Good. Right, here's the secret code for contacting the resistance, and I'm pleased to say so far it's baffled the Boche.
Not surprised, sir. Your handwriting's terrible.
That's coward's talk, Buffy. If you want out, you just say the word. And that goes for everyone.
The visual medium is the most powerful one at your disposal, and it's often used so badly that far from getting your major messages across, the whole thing is obscured by poor use.
I think a visual aid or any supportive aid that you use in presentation needs to be in line with your overall purpose for your presentation. What it's not is something to hide behind.
As a general rule with visuals, think of the three Bs. Now the three Bs are big, bold and brilliant.
So, visual aids provide variety for the audience and help get your message across. Now, let's look at another technique. Imagine if I spoke to you like this, not really varying my voice at all in volume or emphasis, no pauses, no use of repetition. You'd all fall asleep, wouldn't you? But imagine if I spoke to you with variety in my voice, in volume or emphasis, pauses, repetition. That's repetition. The effect's completely different.
I mean, what's really important to remember is that audience's attention wanders, right? So you don't expect your audience to be keyed into every word that you speak. You've got to capture their attention and you've got to maintain it.
Colour up your language a bit. Make it a little bit more powerful. And don't forget the power of a pause. So hold a pause until you can actually feel it hurting there. Till you think that if you don't start again, they're going to get up and leave the room. Then you'll be creating pauses that really create an impact.
Your voice should be clear and have variety in volume, emphasis, and pace. That's pauses and repetition. And make everything a bit larger than normal. Project your voice. Now, it might feel a bit exaggerated at first, but it will help keep your audience interested.
What would you remember in a presentation? You remember stuff that the presenter put across in your language, your examples, your analogies, anecdotes, things that relate to your own experiences.
Women tend to be better at this than men. Men tend to make their presentations more abstract. But the good thing about introducing anecdotes is that you hook your audience in.
If you can sit there saying, hey, this is about me, you're going to remember that.
Now, last but not least, questions. Now, you can prepare for the questions and tell your audience when you'll take them. Now, don't leave them till the end. Questions help get your audience involved. Ideally, allow the audience to ask them at the end of each key area and just before the final summary.
At question time, you can assume that most people are just trying to sort out things that you've told them and, if you like, give you a second chance if they haven't understood.
Now, of course, there are different sorts of questions. Yes?
Sometimes it's a good idea to agree to disagree. However, if you look at most presenters who get hooked on the aggressive questioner, the reason is quite often that they ignore all the help that other people are trying to give them. I think the rule here is take the question from the questioner, but answer everyone.
Don't become aggressive to difficult questions. First of all, are you the person that has to answer it? No, you're not. You're only one person. Someone in the audience, another person, can answer it. Sometimes a questioner is the best person to answer the question themselves. So you don't have to take all the responsibility on yourself.
Okay, so I'd like to summarize the techniques I've been working through. Techniques which will help you to become good presenters. Thank you. Okay then, to summarize. When you're preparing your material, have a brainstorm to begin with. Write down everything you can think of in any order and then start to organize it. Then, think about your objective, why you're making the presentation and how you're going to structure it. Then, focus on your opening, the prime time that's going to grab the audience and keep them hooked. So, that's taken control of your material. Next, you have to take control of yourself. Now think through the techniques to control your nerves so you can present the confident you, and that way the audience will have confidence in you as well. Now, body language. Watch out for the giveaways. Tapping feet, staring at the floor or the ceiling, staring at the screen. And last but not least, rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. That's taking control of yourself. Now, to the last key area of all, knowing your audience and getting them interested and involved from the start. Now, there's a lot you can do. Keep your message simple and clear, avoid jargon, use visual aids for variety. Also, your voice, volume, emphasis, pauses, repetition, and invite your audience to ask questions. That's taking control of your audience. So, now it's over to you to think about these 3 key areas and how they can help you to speak for yourself.